All right. Happy Easter, everybody. Hope everybody's doing okay. The regular season has concluded. With a loss, unfortunately, Knicks lose to the Indiana Pacers 141 to 136. Before I talk about this game, I will just go ahead and say that the most important thing to happen today, by far, as far as I'm concerned, is that Julius Randle showed up to Madison Square Garden without a walking boot. Um, Looking ahead to Cleveland, which is where everybody's minds should be at, and I think it was certainly where the Knicks' minds were at today. They need to be at full health, and I'm sure we'll get into some of the reasons why that is over the course of today, and certainly over the course of the next week as we prepare for this series. But seeing Julius Randle without the necessity of a walking boot is a great sign. Doesn't mean he's definitely going to be ready for game one. Doesn't mean he's going to play in the series at all, potentially. But considering we are 4 days away still from his scheduled reevaluation, I think this counts as a really, 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 really good sign. So, yeah, most important thing that happened today. I'm not going to say that I don't care at all about the outcome of this game, or I guess how they went about getting the outcome of this game. I care whatever the least amount that you could care above not caring at all. I care that amount, if only because, it's not, it doesn't leave the best taste in your mouth to have a 29-point turnaround, which is what this was at one point, because the Knicks had a 16-point lead in the third quarter, and then we're down by 13 at one point in the fourth quarter. It's, and you were still playing some of your guys. But I care the absolute minimal amount for a few reasons. For one, the Knicks defense, as was the case 5 days ago against the same Pacer team, and as was they you know what, I'll say this: they played the Pelicans game not with their regular intensity, but in the second half especially, they like ramped it up a little bit. But for the most part, ever since they clinched, like, we have not seen the Knicks defense as in full force. That does not mean that we should not be concerned about the Knicks defense going into the playoffs, but I am, any concerns I have nothing to do with what transpired today. That's for sure. But yeah, so a little bit of a sour taste. They had their guys out there, although again in the late third, early fourth quarter. All due respect to Evan Fournier, and all due respect to those of you out there who may have been saying very quietly, maybe under your breath, I wonder if Evan Fournier should still be getting minutes on this team. No, not so much. That was kind of when the Pacers started to turn the game around. But give them credit. Pacers have. I was thinking about it before. Other than probably the Magic, of the teams that are not making the postseason this year, of the 10 teams that are definitely going to be in the lottery, I think I'll probably feel best about the Pacers. I think Pacers have a really good thing going. Good young players in the pipeline. Halliburton's, I think he's the real deal. And we'll see where their draft pick ends up. Although today they did not help their draft pick very much, which was interesting. So how to talk about this game, given that I just said, much like the last few games, it really doesn't matter. Quentin Grimes, 5 of 10 from 3. I think I'll look up what he's been from deep over his last, like, however many games, but he does seem to be going into the postseason with a very, very real rhythm to his shot. And it's gotten to the point where, like I said, he was 5 of 10. And I remember the misses more than the makes, because it's almost astounding now the way he's shooting it, with how good he's shooting it at the moment when the ball doesn't go in. That's how good Quentin Grimes is shooting at the moment. So he was 5 of 10 from deep today, 4 of 9 against New Orleans, 5 of 13 against the Pacers in the previous game, 6 of 11 against the Wizards in the game before that. I mean, you just go back and keep going. 3 of 8, 5 of 10, 4 of 9, 5 of 10, 6 of 10. I mean, he, on 10 3-point attempts, he's averaging exactly 10 3-point attempts a game over his final 9 games of the season. This is including today. And he is making about a little over 48% of those 10 attempts a game. And again, that is 10 attempts a game, and that is over a 9-game sample size. As I continue to think more and more about this Cleveland series and the importance of the Knicks in some way, shape, or form being able to fire away behind the arc when they get an opportunity to do so, and actually having guys that could make those shots, I think Quentin Grimes, whether he can be the X factor in this series on both ends of the court, I think depends on how some other guys, or one guy in particular I'm thinking of, does given the chance. But I have a feeling Quentin Grimes is going to get a lot of minutes in the series, and I think he's going to play a pivotal role in whether the Knicks can wind up winning it. So I thought that was important today. Obi Toppen, we should mention, 34 points. I don't know, was this the second or third highest total of his career, whatever it is, in 37 minutes. He was 5 of 10 from 3, along with 7 rebounds and 5 assists. Nice game from Obi. The defense optional format, I think, certainly suits Obi Toppen better than it does many players. It really suits him. And he looked really, really good out there, just like he looked really, really good out there the last time they played the Pacers, who don't have a rim protector or any of those sorts of things. I think he has secured, at this point, I think he's secured his place in the rotation for the postseason. Now, I know certain people are going to, wave their hands in all sorts of wild gesticulations upon me saying that. But secure his place in the rotation. He should be playing 35 minutes a game. They're better with him over Julius Randle. Enough of that. It looks great when the ball's flowing like this. This is not, to say this is not playoff basketball is to say like single A baseball is not the major leagues. What happened today, what happened a few days ago against the Pacers, what happened against the Wizards before that. It's not meaningless. You never want to say anything's meaningless, but what someone is able to do in these situations, I don't know how much weight you could put into it realistically. I think the 3-point shooting is real because his form looks great. He's shooting with confidence. That's awesome. I think a couple of the dribble moves that we've seen, I'll put a little bit of weight in that. But this Knicks team is going to need to bend the Cavs defense somehow. And I talked about it 2 nights ago, so I'm not going to repeat myself. Like Julius Randle, especially the time he played the Cavs back in, January, I guess. So not the last time, the time before that, because he wasn't there the last time they played, of course. Was absolutely the person that bent the Cavs defense, and he did it really well, and they're going to need him to do that. I think Obi's still going to play a big role. His minutes are important. He can't get taken advantage of on defense. And again, the fact that he's feeling it offensively right now is a good sign. So kudos to him for finishing the season strong. I thought Mitch had a nice game, 19 rebounds, again, against Isaiah Jackson, but still he looked good. Good to see Mitch finish on a high note, actually. Maybe I should be making a bigger deal out of that. Quickly, ho-hum, another 30-point game. Didn't shoot it particularly well from 3 today, only 3 of 11, but 30 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, and we shrug it off at this point like it's nothing because we've gotten used to, frankly, greatness from Emmanuel Quickley. But I thought he was very good. And then RJ finishes the season with talk about a very, very RJ Barrett line. 18 points on 16 shots, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 turnovers. He passed it. On one hand, I think he passed it better than the 3 assists indicate. On another hand, I want to say that it kind of evened out because he also threw some pretty poor passes. But again, like, how seriously was he taking it? How seriously is anybody taking it? The most important thing that I saw from RJ today was he shot a 3-pointer that went in. And I think it was the last 3-pointer he shot. Yeah, it was the last 3-pointer he shot because he started off 0 of 2 and he finished 1 of 3. So for him to just see the ball go in the basket from behind the arc, I think is really important. Again, I went over a lot of this stuff the other night. I'm not going to repeat myself. I think going into the Cleveland series, other than Julius Randle's health, RJ Barrett is the X factor. How can he take advantage of them putting their weakest or second weakest defender on him? Because they're absolutely going to do that. Probably whenever he's in the game. Even when he's running bench units, can he take advantage? And specifically, if they play 10 feet off of him, which they're going to do, is he going to shoot those? Is he going to try to use that runway for something better? I don't know. These are like I have a good, again, I've just been watching more and more clips and things from over the last few days, just trying to consume as many possessions from this series as I possibly can before we go into it. And I feel like this series, we know what the series is going to be. We know exactly what Cleveland's going to do to stop New York. We know exactly what New York is going to try to do to stop Cleveland. We kind of have an idea of how a lot of that stuff is going to go. There are pivot points, in terms of point of attack defense for, for New York. They're a big pivot point is if they're going to be able to get Okoro off of Brunson at all defensively. I think that's a major pivot point. I want to see how the centers do, specifically Mitchell Robinson. I think that's a big pivot point. Does Julius continue to play composed and within himself and hit some tough shots, but also not force it? Big responsibility on Julius Randle this series, my God. Which is, again, we don't even know how healthy he's going to be. So that's a huge question. But other than all of that, if there's one player that I think everybody should have their eyes on going into the series, it's RJ Barrett. He's going to have the opportunity to be the difference maker. I would have liked to see him finish the season feeling a little bit more confident from behind the arc. It's always, it's nice when he can hit threes. So whatever, he hit a 3, which is better than 0 threes. So we'll take that. That's all. I don't have anything else to say about this game. I don't really know that there is much else to be said about this game. And we will move on to the personal injury report presented by our friends at Weiss and Rosenblum. Don't forget, if you think you may have a personal injury case, call Weiss and Rosenblum today at 212-366-6100 or visit them at weissandrosenblum.com for more information. No case is too big or too small. You can call them absolutely free for a free consultation. Again, 212-366-6100. Prior results don't guarantee future outcomes. But if you need an attorney for personal injury, go with a veteran and not a rookie. Julius Randle, again, we already went over it. No walking boot. Mitchell Robinson played today after a rest day. That was nice. RJ Barrett played full minutes load after he had been feeling ill. But again, he played a full minutes load against the Pelicans. So that's nice. And Jalen Brunson, I'm not worried. I'm glad he sat out the last bunch of games. That's really it. I don't really have anything else to say for the Weiss and Rosenblum personal injury report. Okay, moment of the game. We're going to do something a little bit different today. I think is Andrew going to pop up here for this? Shout out to Andrew. He's back.
I'm back.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi guys. Andrew. Happy Easter.
Someone's knocking on my office door here, my remote location. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
So we're going to do moment of the season because I cannot for the life of me pick 3 moments of the game from this game.
So it's funny. I got to start here and give somebody some. I want to give everybody some behind the scenes. So this is where I had an out-of-body experience earlier where John texted me during the second quarter. Full disclosure, Knicks on the iPad, Mets on the TV. And you were like, instead, let's do moment of the year, which is like an innocent, fun, good suggestion.
Yes.
And my brain processes all of these as like, well, should it be a pod? Should it be a column? Like I'm so far
4-part podcast.
I'm overcomplicating it. And then by the time I got you to be like, well, I guess we should do 6. And I just took a step back and was like, you know what? No. Maybe just a fun, let's highlight some moments of the year. So here we go, John.
Here's
moment
our
of
3.
the year is
moment of the year
we're going with.
Candidates. The Julius shot against Miami, most obvious candidate, and I can't fathom it would not win. Emmanuel Quickley dancing in the Boston Garden wasn't a. I mean, we could pick any one of his shots, but I think the dancing was emblematic of his performance that night. And then let's do
Got to be JB.
Jalen Brunson to Mitchell Robinson against Denver.
Yeah. The Knicks never win that matinee game. They lost the matinee game today. And that was a matinee game that they won. And it was against the number 1 team in the West. It was a comeback win down the stretch.
That was great.
And it's the loudest I personally thought I heard Madison Square Garden this year. And it preceded a post-game show that was when we started talking about moments. And it was the beginning of us reflecting on what this year has been. So
yeah, I think that's a good one. Yeah, so those 3. Let's do those 3.
Those are the 3. Not to say that they're the official 3. The moment of the year may not have happened yet. It may happen. I
hope it hasn't happened yet.
It may happen in, I'll say it, a Milwaukee series upcoming. But as far as I'm concerned, these are the unofficial moments of the year. We will, of course, do a reflective pod that recaps the season and the off season. But these are the 3 I'm going to put in the chat to vote on. So there you go.
I like it.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we've got a really I know you get emotional when these happen, but this first super chat comes in at 1:33 Eastern. So it came in during the first quarter.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, come on. I do get emotional because it is obscene to me that that people appreciate us talking about this basketball team to this extent. Ham DM, thank you. Thank you for starting us off, and thank you for also being a really, really great contributor to the post games all year long with your thoughtful comments, with your very positive comments, even keeled comments. Always give me something good to chew on, and we have a lot of co-MVPs of these post games, but Ham DM, you're definitely one of them, man. Hey KFS, sorry I won't be around for the post game. Just wanted to thank you for all the great content this season. I know it's not easy to grow a brand, but you guys do it right. Big shout out to GMAC. Love you, brother. I'm beyond excited about the playoffs. I will just say that I'm not going to speak for Andrew because this is kind of why I keep Andrew around, because he cares about such things as growing a brand. But I actually will speak for him. This is not why when he called me up 4 years ago, or whatever it was, and was like, "Hey, we should do this Knicks Film School thing together." He had nothing in mind about growing a brand. He was just like,
"Are you hiring?" that was it. I need to keep busy. I'm going through some stuff, but I'd like to keep my editing skills sharp, and the rest is kind of history.
Yeah, and for me, it was like, I want to give people Knicks content that I think should be out there, and I'm happy people listen and watch. So thank you, Hamdi. We can't thank you enough. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to the playoffs as well.
I am too, and thank you, Hamdi M. I was talking with Sean about this, how the reason I think this means so much, or the feelings and the emotions of this season, are surpassing anything from 2 years ago, and for some people from 2013. Think of the other stuff that's happened. Like, the cherry on top would have been Dallas ending up 11th, but 3 out of 4 against Boston, a couple of wins against Philly, 3 out of 4 against Miami, including the Randle game, like multiple key wins against Western Conference teams.
Yep.
Like, across the board, there have been 2 Atlanta wins, one that got their coach fired. Like, across the resume of this season, the wins have been satisfying. The 2 wins that the 2 wins we didn't get, or the 2 losses that were probably the toughest to take going into the postseason, are probably the Chicago game, which was as fluky as possible. The 3 Bucks game, the Dallas game. We've spin zoned that.
Yeah.
That was good. Now it might actually help them get the 11th pick. We needed them to win as many games as possible. But
we'll see about that.
We all have respect for Milwaukee. There's no beef there. So going 0-3 against them doesn't matter. And then when you go down the rest of the rest of the Eastern Conference, we're all kind of fine with how we've performed how the Knicks have performed as a team against these other teams, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's why, if you are going into the postseason feeling a little bit like playing with house money, I can get behind that to a certain extent, because they have shown so much. And I will say this. I do think it depends on the how, if they lose in the first round. my strong feeling will be if they do not beat Cleveland, it will be not because they have shat the bed, but it will be because Cleveland asserted itself as one of the, I mean, I don't even know, two, three, four best teams in basketball, which I think, I don't think that that's crazy for one, just sitting here and like really diving into them as a basketball team. They are good. But anyway, I digress. All right. Thanks, Hamdi, again. Appreciate it.
I'm going to jump down and leave you with the super chats. Wanted to be here for the Ham DM comment.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, everybody, for this year. We'll say a lot more at the end, but a preemptive thank you for this year.
Yeah. GD Nation, what's going on, GD? Thank you for working so hard to make following the NBA, not just the Knicks, so enjoyable. Thank you so much for expanding the team to include so many excellent voices. Perfect segue, because it gives me a shout out, or it gives me an opportunity to shout out all the people that we added this year. And like, I know Benji was with us before the season, but for me, how much he took on a bigger role this year, I almost feel like he was an addition this year. But between Benji, between the Casual Friday crew, Showing with the W, Mensa, and XJ, APJP, Justin, who's been producing on weekends really since for most of the season now, DJ Zulo with his great breakdowns. Chris is obviously continuing to kill it with Fordham, and he kind of gives us a beat reporter on the inside in addition to Fred Katz. Shout out to Fred Katz, by the way, who's kind of become a regular, and Jeremy Goldstein killing it on social. I think I got everybody. If I didn't, Andrew, let me know. But yeah, it's really cool. It's not just like, a couple of us trying to cobble this together. And as far as working hard to help you guys follow the NBA, I'll just give my one gripe today. I think it is egregious. And I understand TV dollars trump everything, that the freaking, what is it, ESPN? Yeah. ESPN has on Lakers Jazz instead of Pelicans Timberwolves. Pelicans Timberwolves is a playoff game. The winner of that game, in all likelihood, is going to get the 8 and 2 chances to win 1, and the loser is going to get 9, which is 1 chance to, or they have to win 2, obviously. And like at the very least, the winner of that game is going to get with their season on the line, they're going to get a home game. So that's such a big game, and like they're putting the freaking Lakers on ESPN, which is it just sucks. And I just wanted to say that. Meanwhile, I look up and I see the Spurs beating the Mavs 39-12. Fuck you, Dallas. Thanks, GD Nation. Robert Cross, of course. It's your boy John. Thanks much to KFS for a great season. Now let's get those 53 wins. Hashtag 53 wins. Robert, sitting here right now. Here's the you want the silver lining on a loss today, because I know you're like me. Every loss, no matter how inconsequential, gets under your skin. This sets them up to get to 53 exactly and have it be like pretty much the best realistic possibility. And I know as I say that, you're like, well, wait a minute, Chris Middleton's hurt. We could beat. Well, listen, if they beat Cleveland and then they get the Bucks and it's 2-2 going into Milwaukee for Game 5. I mean, you want to talk about house money, icing on the cake, whatever your analogy is. It doesn't matter if they lose those last 2 games by 80 points. That would be the perfect Knicks season, and that would get them to 53 wins. So we'll see what happens. Sam Garcia, what's going on, Sam? Appreciate you, man. Again, talk about adding a lot to these post games and the fun and games that we have here. Just want to say thanks for all the hard work everyone at KFS has put in this season. The season's been a blast, and I'm looking forward to a long playoff run. Hashtag Let's Go Knicks. Man, I was thinking we'd get to actually talk about some basketball here, but this is all just thanks to Knicks Film School. Listen, we're not done yet. We still have the playoffs to talk about, but I get that like no one's going to be in the mood to whenever their last playoff game is, something tells me nobody's going to be in the mood to like throw flowers at KFS whenever it finally ends. We're going to have some substantive stuff to talk about. So I guess today is the day to do it. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate it. Long playoff run. What defines a long playoff run? Second round, right? I think second round. As long as I get there. Dom Cappuccini, someone else I know, was kind of probably bugged that they ended the season with 2 straight losses. Great season, and these last 3 games have been meaningless. Completely agree. Last 4 games really have been meaningless. Well, wait, hold on. Did the Washington game mean something? I think the Washington game meant something. Yeah, the last 3 games were meaningless. Yet it can't help but feel concerned with the recent defensive awards from our best wing defenders. How did I know you were going to go there? Not to mention Obi with more responsibility. Yeah, they're not playing. I'm not going to say they're not trying, but like this to me, yes, that's right. The Washington game clinched the playoff berth, so that meant something. This has kind of been them all year, or for most of the year, or for a lot. Not a lot. They turned their season around with defense in the 8-game winning streak back in December, and then Mitch went down shortly after that winning streak ended, and then their defense blew up into smithereens for a while when he went down, and then they kind of got it back, and then I feel like sometime maybe around February, I can't put my finger on it, we started seeing, in my estimation at least, maybe when they really started feeling the ropes on offense, a little bit more selectivity about when we're going to really exert ourselves on defense and when we're just going to kind of do it like 85% of the way. I think your fears about the last 3 games, like, you should not be concerned about the last 3 games and how they've defended the last 3 games. They were not, I mean, whatever they were over the last several months, 85%, 88%, whatever, they were some significant percent below that in terms of their effort level over the last few games. And I don't blame them for that one bit. This team has been going freaking hard for the whole way. Like, think about, again, the fact that, like, part of the reason we love this team and part of the reason they're different than basically every other team in the league is they don't take nights off. Their individual players don't take nights off, and as a team, they don't take nights off. So, like, for them to, even the younger players, for them to kind of not go full tilt on the defensive end for the last week of the season, it would almost be weird if they didn't do that to me. But to me, it's more like, do they have the ability to lock in for 48 minutes against the Cavs? I think they do. I still am a little concerned about the point of attack defense because they don't have that. Their best point of attack defender is still Quentin Grimes, and that is a 2nd-year player. You are asking him to do a lot. That's more my concern than anything that happened this week. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you, man. Kevin, what's going on, Kev? Man, unfortunate the game was so close, so Rose didn't get a moment. Other than that, cool to see Obi score 30. And Grimes finishing at 39% from 3. Yeah, hey, look, I mean, I think Derrick Rose will be back. I don't think Derrick Rose is going to hang it up yet. Maybe he will, but we'll see. As far as Grimes finishing 39% from 3, that is a nice accomplishment by him. I haven't done the stat head search as far as how many players 2nd year or under have finished with, X amount of made threes per. I don't know if you can do it per game, you can do it per 36 minutes on whatever his percentage is. But now this is 2 years worth of 38+% shooting from him from deep. The defense continues to get better. But again, I was literally about to say the words, what an asset. No, the days of talking about Quentin Grimes as an asset, those ended a long time ago. This is a guy who might make the difference between winning or losing their first-round series. That's how important he is to this team, and that's how much they need him on both ends of the floor. Absolutely pivotal. I think he's up to the challenge. Thanks, Kev. Appreciate you also as we have all year. Dom with another one. Also, a big thanks to another great year of content. God, I hope Julius is ready next weekend. Either way, playoffs, #we back. Just no sweep or gentleman sweep, please. I don't think they're going to get swept, and I don't think they're going to get gentleman swept. And for what it's worth, for as much as I just opened the show by talking about how much they need Julius Randle, and I believe they need Julius Randle, and a healthy Julius Randle, I wouldn't be totally shocked if they didn't have Randle for like the first couple games and they snuck out of Cleveland with a win. Wouldn't I don't think that would be shocking. I think it would take man. I mean, it would take an outstanding shooting game. It would take an outstanding shooting game from deep, and it would take really unexpected big time performances from at least two of like, because I think I know what we're gonna get from Brunson. I know what we're gonna get from Quickley. The RJ and Josh Hart. The RJ Grimes, Mitch, RJ quartet. I think two of those four would need to have like, the game of their lives for them to win a game without Julius there. But we'll see. Thanks, Tom. And thanks for also contributing all year, because you've also been one of, a lot of co-MVPs. Anthony Sixto, what's going on, Anthony? Thanks to the KFS crew for a great regular season of coverage. What are your thoughts on the Roby signing? Okay, good. We got a basketball question. Hashtag Roby Revolution. Hashtag Roby Renaissance. I thought it was, I think the Fred Katz reported $400,000 essentially for signing a piece of paper on the last day of the season. So to me, this is very clearly a guy that they think at least has a chance to make the roster next year. It's a non-guaranteed contract for next season. The guaranteed money was today. Today was the big guarantee, and this is money they had. Like, they're not, obviously they didn't go into the luxury tax by giving Roby what they gave him today. But they did give him, a substantial chunk of change and it's the non-guaranteed contract for next season. A trade chip. Don't underestimate that. As someone that they could use if they needed to put additional salary into a trade. Although I would imagine it's a minimum, so it's not all that much. But I think he's an interesting player. Benji nailed it. The guy, when he shot it 2 years ago, he was a super interesting player because he could play the 5. Anytime you got a guy who can play the 5 and keep you honest on defense from the 5, and he could shoot it, then that's a guy worth investing in. That's a guy worth giving minutes to. If he doesn't shoot it, he's a less interesting player. But two good organizations have taken a look at him in the Thunder and the Spurs and said, we don't see enough. Now, both of those organizations have a lot of young players that they, especially Oklahoma City. It felt like when he got cut by Oklahoma City, that was really like a casualty of like they just had too many guys on the roster. The Spurs, maybe a little bit less of an excuse there. But again, he didn't shoot it this year. So, I don't know. Interesting guy. I think he has a good shot of making it out of camp next year. For sure. We'll see. Thanks, Anthony. Q left blank. What's going on, Q? If there was an award for best content creators for a sports franchise, KFS would be a shoo-in. Thank you, man. That means a lot. And again, just happy anybody listens to me. Hashtag appreciate KFS. Are we more excited to get the TNT crew or more bummed that we don't get Breen? Breen's the best in the business for me. So I'm bummed that we don't get Breen for sure. I think TNT has some really good crews. I'm gonna miss Breen. But so MSG said they're gonna have all the games. I can't imagine Breen's gonna do any of those games because he will have national obligations. But I guess never say never. All I know is if Breen is calling any of these playoff games for MSG, I'm gonna be tuning in. But it was weird. Like, I don't remember. He did the MSG games versus Cleveland. Yeah, am I crazy? The MSG said it on the broadcast today. Like, they will have full coverage. Like, they will have all the games. Unless I misread it and they're just implying pre- and post-game. Andrew, you muted.
My bad. So what I meant, I didn't mean Cleveland. He did the MSG games versus Atlanta. 2 years ago.
So they did broadcast the playoff games, and
if you remember the alley-oop to Toppen call, that was an MSG game
call.
that Breen had. He also had the call of Trey's running winner in game 1, and then the final moments of game 5.
Yeah, so I'll be watching those games on MSG. I'll be watching those games, yeah, for sure.
I'm not watching a playoff series with Reggie Miller as the commentary. Needless to say.
Yeah, not so much. Not if I have a choice, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Q Left Blank. Sam Garcia with another one. Cleveland going to give RJ the Simmons treatment. I would. I would play so far off of him as to, you know what I would do? When he got the ball behind the arc, I would take a step towards the rim if I was Cleveland. Because what do you have to lose? You know, it's funny. I was looking up a stat earlier today. Because here's what you have to lose. You have to lose that you give RJ Barrett a runway, right? You give RJ Barrett a runway to the rim. Okay. RJ Barrett shot 59% on shots in the restricted area this season. I looked up a stat. I think it was yesterday. I looked it up. So again, I'm all of these stats will get updated. After after today's games. I don't really care. But let me just make sure here we go. So in the minutes that Evan Mobley and Jared Allen have shared the floor together this year for Cleveland, opponents have shot 59.5% in the restricted area. That number is in the 98th percentile for all 5-man lineups league wide. 98th percentile. So and considering the minutes that they've played together, I would go so far as to say that there is no more heavy minutes pairing in basketball that has held opponents to a lower percentage of shots at the rim than the Mobley Allen pairing. 59.5%. RJ shoots 59% at the rim. So the worst case scenario for Cleveland is you give him a runway to the rim, and his normal percentage in all games is the same as Cleveland's 98th percentile percentage when they have their two bigs in the game. And oh, by the way, they're going to have their two bigs in the game for many of the times that they're going to give RJ Barrett that runway because he is a starter for the Knicks. And if he's got a lot of his minutes are going to come when they're both in there, which is why, again, you've just listed another reason why RJ is my biggest X factor for the series. And I'm sorry, but the times that we've seen so many times this year where it's like, RJ's having an RJ half again, and then he comes back and he looks great in the second half. Guess what? That shit's not going to fly against this team in the playoffs, because if you have those numbers, because again, those bad RJ halves, oftentimes they come with a lot of volume, and there's like a bunch of missed shots or passes not made or turnovers against this team. Who here's another quirky stat against Cleveland. Cleveland, they don't convert. They're middle of the road team, I think, as far as forcing turnovers. They don't convert their turnovers to points all that often, but when they do, here I'm butchering the stats, so I'm going to look it up before I sound like a complete idiot. But their points per transition attempt is points per attempt off of an opponent steal, I think, or off of a steal or off an opponent turnover. One of those two. I think it's off of a steal. Their points per attempt on those, it's 1.59. It's either the best or the second best in the league. I think it's the best in the league. So when they steal the ball and they decide to shoot immediately off of that steal, it's essentially a free basket. 1.59 points, I think was the number per possession. That's insane. So if you give them a runway after a steal, they are going to convert because they're very good at that. And we've seen the issue. The Knicks have issues with the sort of thing, obviously, against the likes of Toronto. Here's my point. I don't. He's not going to get that runway. He's not going to get the runway to go, 1 of 9 in the first half or something. And if he does, guess what? It ain't happening again because Tom has the horses now. He has the horses, and I said it 2 nights ago. Quickley, Grimes, Hart, obviously Brunson, hopefully Randle. All these guys could play 40 minutes, and so, yeah, I'll be very curious to see what Cleveland does, and I'll be very curious to see how RJ responds, and I'll be very curious to see how Tibbs responds if and when it doesn't go well. Keith, what's going on, Keith? How you doing, man? Great to, again, another one of the co-MVPs of this year. Would have liked to see a win, but what can we do? More importantly, I wanted to say it's been a hell of a season for all of us. Next weekend, it begins. Happy Easter to all, and shouts to KFS. Playoffs, baby. Thanks for your hard work. Well, thank you. You make the hard work more than worth it. And yeah, I'm excited for next weekend. I'm gonna be like 35% more excited if we get word that Julius is like. At this point, I would sign up right now today for a questionable tag going into game 1. I think that's what I would sign for. I would sign for that. And game time decision, he's going to try to give it a go. I would sign for that. Juanon, what's going on, Juanon? What are your top 5 destinations to watch a road playoff game live, and why isn't Cleveland one of them? Joakim Noah might have been onto something. My top 5 destinations to watch a road playoff game live. This is a fantastic question. Hold on. I want to make sure I get. I mean, I'm going to say the Lakers, not because there's any great ambiance in that arena, and those fans, frankly, don't deserve to have a basketball team that has had so much success, but just, I don't know, to see a Laker game in LA, I think would be cool. I'm going to say Portland. I'll say Portland. It's tough because there's teams that I freaking hate. If Chicago was ever good, I bet that would be a really fun destination. But I freaking hate the Bulls. I'll go chalk here. I'll go Boston. So I'll go Boston, Lakers, Portland. Am I incorporating the city with this? Yeah, Andrew just put. Yeah. So Golden State Warriors, I went to a game during their 72-win season, or 73-win season, excuse me, which is, I think that was whatever. I don't know if it was that season. I think it was that season. The last season at Oracle, I got a chance to go to a game at Oracle, and it was really, really cool. So I don't know if it would have the same experience in the new arena, or whatever. Is the new one called Oracle? Whatever, the one that they used to play at. Sure, I'll go Golden State for my 4th, since I'm kind of struggling for one. And last but not least, I will go. Andrew said Miami. Again, that they don't care about their basketball team down there. So why should I care about their basketball team? I'll go Philly. I would love to be in Philly for a huge playoff game as a neutral observer, because either way, I'm going to enjoy the experience. Either people are absolutely going to lose their shit over a terrible loss, or it's a great win for the home team, in which that would be fun. So I'll go Philly. Joe Dugan, what's going on, Joe? Awesome year, KFS team. Good shows every day. Thank you. All credit to Andrew for that. We're going to need RJ's half-court shot creation against the Cavs. He could get Grimes and Randle open looks. He can. That's the thing, right? He can get Grimes open looks. Randle, it depends where Randle is. Here's the thing with Randle, though, and it's Randle has become so comfortable pulling up from 3. And unless I'm mistaken, which I might be mistaken, I am occasionally mistaken, but I don't think I'm mistaken on this one. Julius shoots roughly the same percentage on catch and shoot threes as he does pull up threes. Because I looked it up earlier today. He's a little bit above 33% on pull up threes on a massive volume. He's taken oh my God, is he taking a lot of pull up threes this year? And his overall 3-point percentage this year is 34.3%. So he's more like 35 and change on catch and shoots as opposed to pull ups. That's a difference. But like, Randle doesn't need anybody to set him up for his threes. When he's feeling it, and again, God knows he was feeling it the last time he faced Philly. He was pulling up like it was nobody's business Cavs. He was pulling up like nobody's business against Cleveland. I think he was finished 8 for 13 in the third game they played against each other, and was instrumental in that game. But yeah, RJ, that should be his role, right? That should be his role. Nobody can stop me from getting into the teeth of the defense. Nobody can prevent me from getting shots at the rim. In theory, RJ possesses the ability to get quality looks at the rim if the defender is Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell. And so if you add all those things up, then either he's getting a really good high percentage shot at or near the rim against that guard or those guards, or he's bringing two to the ball. And if he's bringing two to the ball, then that opens up opportunities, whether it's an opportunity to Grimes, Randle, Mitchell Robinson under the basket, whoever. It doesn't matter. You have accomplished your goal at that point if you were the New York Knicks. You have brought two to the ball. My suspicion will be that the Cleveland Cavaliers will say, if RJ Barrett's going to beat us, we're going to let him beat us. We're not putting two to the ball unless they are so confident, or let me rephrase that. They have so little faith in his passing out of double teams that they're going to bring two to the ball. And again, so a lot of this stuff, like we saw this against Atlanta 2 years ago, where it's like, are they going to double Julius or are they going to single coverage? Well, the answer was they did both. When Julius got the ball, they had like their entire orbit like kind of shifted in. No explicit double teams, but it was enough to make Julius be like, oh no, what do I do? Like, I don't think they're going to send hard doubles at RJ Barrett anytime he gets within 10 feet of the hoop, but like they'll make him think twice about whatever he's going to do. And here's the thing about Cleveland, because they're going to be putting a lesser defender on him, that means there's going to be three exceptional defenders in Okoro, Allen, and Mobley, and a lot of length, by the way, for those guys, to kind of, again, pressure those drives without bringing the explicit double team. How is RJ Barrett going to handle that? To say nothing of the fact that, and this is the last part of it, and I haven't even gotten a chance to write this. I'm going to write this for something later this week. Like, Donovan Mitchell is short, but he's stout, and he, like, I don't think RJ is going to have the easiest time just kind of like backing him down. Now, if RJ's patient and he kind of takes his time and backs him down and backs him down and backs him down, he could get good shots in that scenario. We'll see if he winds up getting those. But it's the key to the series, Joe. It's the key to the whole freaking series as far as I'm concerned, because that's what they're going to give them. Can they take advantage? Stevens Guillaume, what's going on, Stevens? Thank you, KFS, for another amazing season. Your hard work is greatly appreciated. You guys are truly the best. Playoff time, giddy up. Thank you, Stevens. Again, another frequent contributor to these things. Thank you. We love what we do. We're lucky to be able to do it. And, yeah, giddy up indeed, baby. I'm excited. We should all be excited. It's playoffs. Next up, Ja So Focused. What's going on, Ja? What's up, John? Season's over and the vibes are pretty good. I think the vibes are still very good. I don't care. I'm already over this loss. Love to see how hard the team played, even though it resulted in a loss. It resulted in losses. Wins if Jalen Brunson or Julius Randle play. I mean, I don't even need to go that far. I think they're wins if without Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. Well, let me rephrase that. I think today would have been a win without Jalen Brunson or Julius Randle if the team that was on the floor, if they needed the game. And I think that has to do with the players that were on the floor, and I think it would have to do with the rotation, because we wouldn't be seeing any Evan 48 minutes. certainly, if they needed to win this game. And you like to see the spunk at the end. Like they were down by 13. They made it a 4-point game briefly. That was cool. But yeah, their vibes are very good. They know what's ahead of them. I think the best thing I could say is like this team is so good, and I think they're so confident in themselves. Not cocky, but confident in their abilities that nothing that happened like today or Friday is going to shake any of that confidence. So, yeah. Will Oliver, Lou Almondson, Cole Aldridge, Kevin Serafin, Bargnani. Just remember the players we had to sit through to get to this point. Thank you for all you do, KFS. A great season that has only just begun. I hope it's only just begun, Will. And I hope, I know you had a tough moment, tough time earlier this year. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, we've had some tough times as Knicks fans. Those are some names. I like Lou Amundsen. I was as will shock nobody. I was a Lou Amundsen fan. He at least gave a shit anytime he was out there, which was cool. Most like Cole Aldridge too, like Kevin Serafin. Those guys cared. Bargnani, man, that was rough. Bargs was rough. That was a rough time for all of us. Thank you, Will. I appreciate it. Ryan Nelson, what's going on, Ryan? Thank you for the generous contribution. The best season I've had as a Knicks fan since '99, me and you both. Thank you for the amazing effort you put in producing this content. I have to say, RJ reminds me of an atrocious mashup of Shannon Anderson and Al Harrington. I love this team. I love how he started off with super positive. He ended with super positive, and in between, it was quite possibly the most demeaning RJ Barrett comment that I've ever heard in my life. My God. 22 years old. He's 22 years old. He has had an up and down season in so many ways, from the role that he was being asked to inhabit to the being in and out of the lineup with the injuries, and then he was sick early and he was sick late and all these things. And on top of all that, coming off the offseason where, as I've said so many times, his team that drafted him and that slam cover last year, by all accounts, face of the franchise as they were coming down the stretch last year, scoring 24 a game for 3.5 months. Like, to go from that to you're on a train halfway to Utah. Like, and then I go back to the first to 22 years old to have to deal with all of that, which is why I try to draw an important distinction between, is it okay to be incredibly frustrated with Barrett's play and to call it like it is when you see poor play, and I think justifiably worry about him in this series and what he's going to be able to do. I think it's okay to say all that and then draw the line where it's like, I'm not saying you're doing this, by the way, Ryan. Let's throw him out with yesterday's garbage, because there is so much that could still go right with this player, and that I suspect will go right with this player. I am less confident that it will go right here in New York. What happened now? Rudy Gobert punched or threw a punch at Shannon Anderson, by the way.
Not Shannon Anderson, Kyle Anderson.
Kyle Anderson. That's because he's saying Shannon Anderson.
I know. You're beating me. You're ahead of schedule. I was going to have you do another edition of John Watches Something, and I was texting you.
I'm watching it literally. Hold on. I haven't seen the punch yet.
Okay. So go back and narrate what you're seeing, like we did with the Julius running over Tibbs, since this is an audio medium. Let
me finish up Ryan's comment. Ryan, keep the faith. That's all I'll say about RJ Barrett. Keep the faith. So Rudy and Kyle Anderson are on the bench, and they're even animated discussion, but it looks like it's like not settling down, but it looks like it's like sloping down towards like, okay, this is now calming down. And then Rudy kind of leans over, but not like it looks like he's going to punch him. And then he tries to punch him, and then Kyle Anderson goes back towards him.
So look even closer at Rudy at the start. One of the trainers for the Timberwolves is holding Rudy's right hand.
Yes, he is. Sorry, I didn't see that. And then he lets go of him, and then he goes for the punch. Okay.
It's almost as if like, all right, let's use your words, not your hands. And then as soon as the trainer lets go, Rudy unloads on Kyle Anderson. It's the IQ Randle. It's really the Obi RJ incident without fisticuffs.
Well, but that's a big difference.
But that's what I'm saying to give people a mental picture that are listening to the pod later. Like, yeah, man, that's a team that's fighting for positioning in the play-in that went that's 4 first-round picks right there that just punched Kyle Anderson in the throat during a huddle.
That to me is like, because by all indications, Kyle, I keep wanting to say Shannon, Kyle Anderson. I'm sure Shannon could give someone a few good minutes nowadays. Kyle.
So Udonis Haslem played today. So.
How many minutes did UD give the? They
were all meaningful. Yeah,
all meaningful. I'm not gonna go there.
No, you're good.
Not going there. Kyle Anderson has, by all indications, been a real important piece for them and like a leader for them and the whole thing. And like I haven't gotten a sense that like there's been any issues with Rudy off the court. That to me is exactly what that seems like a season long of frustration, a season's worth of frustration. Just boiling.
Yeah. That was shocking to me too. I thought they had, from the outside looking in, kind of figured some stuff out with that team, and now seeing that, I'm also just as shocked. By the way, do you want the full Udonis Haslem stat line today?
Oh, please. I'd love some.
So for those who don't know, Udonis Haslem, this is most likely his last game ever. Like I can't see it. I don't think
they had a freaking night to commemorate his career.
Right. That was Udonis Haslem night. This was his last regular season game. In other words, like, will not play in whatever playoff games that they play, even like a commemorative, here's go take a moment on the court. He played 25 minutes tonight, 24 points, 3 rebounds, 1 block, 9 of 17 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3 in a Miami Heat win.
That's incredible. Also notable. Dallas has pulled back into this game with the Spurs. The Thunder are down by 2 at halftime to the Grizzlies. If the Mavs are down by 12 at halftime, if the Mavs somehow, I think the Mavs will run out of play like scrubs to put into the game. So if the Mavs scrubs actually pull this off, and the Spurs can't out tank them, they will finish with the same, potentially, if the Thunder lose, finish with the same record as the Thunder, which would then bring, assuming the Thunder lose in the play-in, would bring the 10th pick or the 10th lottery odds down to a coin flip.
Yep.
So potentially meaningful next hour or so. Okay, let's keep it going. Let's try to finish this up. Stay up here. Ryan. That's Ryan. Josso focused with another one. Also surprising to see how much love the Julius Randle 3 in Miami is getting. I absolutely hated everything about it except the good feeling of watching it go in.
How did that not supersede anything else? The good feeling of it going in.
Yeah, like just that's.
I get it. Process matters. Yeah. The Knicks beat the Heat in Miami with Jimmy Butler in demigod mode, and it was our guy Julius Randle who hit the huge 3 to give us the ability to laugh at Miami Heat fans. I'm not as my revelation from this season about Miami Heat fans. It's not so much that there aren't any. It's that they don't care about sports as much as we do because the beach is right there. There are a lot of Heat fans. They just cope differently.
I'm looking at
with their team losing games. So, like, I was very happy that became MSG South in whatever they call that arena now. And it's because Julius Randle, for points 41, 42, and 43, hit one of the biggest shots of the season. Maybe one of the biggest shots we'll see how the rest of the season goes and how much that matters. But in the last decade or so, I'll say.
Wow.
Happy you kept me up for that.
Okay. Yes. Buzzer beater. Tibbs has done more for blacks than Abe Lincoln.
If you know, you know.
Really. If you know, you know. There you go.
Yeah,
that's all there is to it.
That's a thing that was said about
Thank you,
someone
buzzer
else.
beater.
Yes, thank you, buzzer beater.
Dom Cappuccini, if you know, you know. Dom Cappuccini with another one. Thank you, Dom, again. If Obi starts the first 2 games, would it make a 5-game series loss easier to swallow? I think yes. I'm sorry, but I viewed the defense as bend but don't break all year. Watching our elite defenders struggle and Obi being Obi, I don't know. Again, I am hopeful. Of all the things that I have that I'm probably being naive about going into the series, number one is that I think our defenders, our perimeter defenders who we think are good perimeter defenders, will actually be good. I think you're going to get really good perimeter defense from Grimes, Quickley, Hart. I think Brunson's going to be on his game to the extent that Brunson can be on his game. So I'm not as worried as you are, Dom. Just to answer the question, would it make a 5-game series loss easier to follow if Obi played the first 2 games? So let's assume Obi plays the first 2 games. Let's say they're in it, but they lose close games and they don't get like embarrassed or anything like that, and they go down 0-2. Julius comes back. I'd have to know how it would play out. I mean, I think even then you'd probably want to get it to 6, right? But it would make it easier to swallow. Yeah, I think it would make it easier to swallow for sure. Kevin Danishevsky, MSG only did games 1, 2, and 5 in 2021. Okay,
yeah. The other 2 were ESPN games that Breen also called.
Did.
Yes. So,
thanks, Kev. Ben, what's going on, Ben? How you doing? Thank you, KFS. You're the bar I wish I could hang out in while watching games and talking Knicks. We wish we had a KFS bar. You've built community. Salute. Hashtag 47 wins. Hashtag thanks, Cap. Well done. Well done to end on that one.
Thanks, Cap, indeed. Well done.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm scrolling. Hold on. Oh, I got a sad one for you.
Sad one. Kevin Danishevsky. I tweeted it. Mm-hmm. Congrats, Jeremy, on the predictions. KFS live event coming soon. Yeah, we should be able to pull something together for the playoffs. Not going to say anything for sure right now, but I'm going to wait till the playoff schedule comes out, hopefully later today. And then as soon as I get confirmation on a KFS live event for the playoffs, we will let you know. And congrats to Jeremy on here. I tweeted it, but congrats. Congrats to Jeremy. Sam with another one. Is there a point in this series where you could see Tibbs dropping Obi, RJ, or both of them from the rotation, or rocking with 8 or 7 guys? That's a really good. I think the question is who's more likely to drop from the rotation. I think it's Obi. Because assuming Garland and Mitchell are one of them will always be on the floor. So if in Obi's minutes, let's say Obi's minutes in game 1 or Obi's minutes over the first 2 games, and I'm assuming if Julius Randle's not back, they're not dropping Obi from the rotation. That should go without saying. If Julius Randle is back and is healthy enough to play 30-plus minutes, and like when Obi's in the game, it's just like get Obi in the pick and roll, get Obi in the pick and roll, get Obi in the pick and roll, and it's just Garland and Mitchell just eating nonstop, then yeah, I think you're going to see Obi on the bench by game 3. For RJ to be out of the rotation completely, I actually don't think there's anything. I could see the minutes going way down. I could see a world where he averages under 20 minutes a game in the series. I don't think that's crazy at all. Obviously, his play is poor, but like out of the rotation, I can't see him being out of the rotation.
I can't see the biggest thing you specified is the Julius part of this. There's just no way. They might go down to 8, and if Deuce isn't hitting shots like you've suggested, but if they only have those 8 guys available, they're going to use every tool at their disposal. The one thing that I've taken from these last 5 games more than anything else is how comfortable Tibbs seems with Josh Hart at the 4. So that is your path to OB potentially even the rotation. I just wonder how many games it would have to take. Would it be because he's not hitting shots? If he's hitting shots but not playing defense, would we then see that be the reason why they make a switch? But yeah.
So let's just be straight. The only benefit Obi gives you over Josh Hart is that Obi at this point, it's just crazy to say, he willingly takes and makes threes. Mm-hmm. But Josh Hart does so much other stuff that helps you on the offensive end. And I think at this point, I'm very comfortable saying Josh Hart is the superior offensive player to Obi Toppen. Maybe it's close. Maybe I'm being too forward with that. Maybe it's close. Let's just say defensively, it is not close.
No.
And so what's your rationale? And then if it's Josh Hart or RJ, well, if RJ's not hitting threes, and even if RJ is hitting threes, I don't think there's a real argument for him being a superior option to Hart. So Hart being able to man the 4, I think, is massive. It's massive. Thanks, Sam. El Coriano 11, better season. IQ's this season or Brunson? I think he means 21-22. So Brunson last season.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great freaking question. The numbers would say Brunson. No, and I'm not talking about the count.
Okay. The deeper numbers, even though defensively IQ's numbers really, really show an impact. The on-off is definitely IQ too.
The on-off is IQ. The defense is easily IQ. But Brunson last year was so efficient. He was so efficient. Man. That, that's a great freaking question. Yeah. I might have to give it to IQ because you know why? Brunson got paid 26 a year, and people were like, that's an overpay. Immanuel Quickley's about to get paid 26 a year, and no one's going to say, I don't think anybody's going to say it's an overpay.
Yeah.
Man.
But before we move on from this question, do you want to talk about the betting odds? How they shifted today?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You're unaware of this? Overnight, yeah. Malcolm Brogdon just became a heavy favorite to win Sixth Man of the Year.
Oh, really?
And so the thought is that the Boston media influence has taken form, and now he's like minus 550 right now, John.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it sucks, and this is just it's funny in the KFS faculty chat. Chris was saying his theories, and then all the rest of us kind of confirming, and XJ, who is like, it's by the numbers. It's the only thing that should decide it, which I mostly agree with. Just realizing that other things factor into the awards voting, which sucks, especially in this case, because it really does seem like a collective effort to get Malcolm Brogdon the Sixth Man of the Year just happened.
I feel very badly for Immanuel Quickley. I also don't feel that badly because I think Immanuel Quickley, in his own mind, feels like he has such bigger fish to fry than a Sixth Man of the Year award win. Like James Harden won 6 Man. I'm not saying Immanuel Quickley is going to turn into an MVP and a 5-time top 3 MVP finisher. I'm not saying that. But I think Immanuel, like, who thinks about James Harden 6 Man of the Year? He doesn't give a shit about it. I'm sure most people don't give a shit about it. I think Immanuel Quickley, in his mind, where he's going, it's not going to matter to him as much as we think it might. And I don't think the Knicks will let it influence them one iota when it comes to payday, or at least I hope not. It should not. And yeah, that's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Ben with another one. 2 hearts, beat ass 1. Hashtag you two, them is quoted prophecy. I don't know what that means.
You two, the misquoted prophecy.
Wow.
Yeah. I had to read it a couple times too, but I had the benefit of listening to you not read it right to then read it correctly. So thank you. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben.
I don't know if you mentioned it, like the Josh Hart got ejected today and it was just kind of
yeah, Josh Hart got ejected.
Who cares? It's very much yeah, that happened.
All right. Alexander, hello, Mr. Mac. First-time contributor, but long-time viewer since the We Here season. I wanted to hear your thoughts on the Mavs situation. All right. I'm going to make this brief because my wife is telling me I need to get the kids ready for Easter dinner.
We have one more after this, and then we're done. So
okay. I think it is really – I think it hasn't crossed into DEFCON 1 yet, but I think it's at DEFCON 2. Oh, here's my daughter in a literal diaper at the door. I think it's at DEFCON 2, which is like the second highest DEFCON. I mean, we heard all we need to know. Luka Doncic is giving them another year. You traded wisely. Good job by you. You traded for this, a generational player, and he's all but fed up with your organization. You have a year to get it right. So can you get it right? So it's like it's DEFCON 2. That's what I'll say. It's DEFCON 2.
I'm laughing at it. So it's hilarity levels of 1 right now, in the 90.
Oh, it's definitely hilarity levels
percentile. Because that was I know you got to run, so I'll make this quick, but like that was my reaction to the investigation being launched yesterday. It was so much less about like, oh, they're gonna lift the protections or it's all gonna work out for the Knicks. It was very much like, you can't do anything right this year, can you? Like tanking, even.
Oh, no,
you can't do that right. You've botched literally every single thing you could have around Luka over the past.
This season, even when Brunson left, it wasn't any DEFCON yet, I don't think. And then and now it's DEFCON 2. That's pretty big deal. All right, let's finish this up because this is turning into a disaster. Josso Focus, GMAC, number 1, our guy. Number 2, it was so lucky. We're ending on that note.
I'll answer, and then I'll let if you. I know you may have to leave. Fine. My guy, Josso Focused, and you want to just go down the list of lucky shots that have gone in, and we celebrate them as a result. Like, the shot went in is the point. Who cares? They won. Your team won, and your All-NBA 2-time All-Star made the shot in Miami, and a lot of people in Miami were sad on their way to their nightclub for the night. So yeah, that's how I feel, at least.
Yeah, and like, I know Julius isn't ever going to be everybody's guy. There have been so few New York athletes. I mean, you can count the amount of New York athletes on one hand over the last, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. That is everybody's guy. But I think he deserves to be our guy. I've said that already, and I stand by that.
Do you want to run, and I'll tell everybody the content schedule for next week?
If you don't mind, that would be amazing. I just want to say a quick thank you to everybody's generosity. Thank you for watching all year. Again, obviously, we're going to be here for all the post games. You guys are amazing. We are the luckiest people in the world that get to do what we do. Truly, 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 truly. And I say that as Knicks fans. And we've been through some tough times, but we are still the luckiest people in the world to get to do what we do. All right. Peace out. Thank you, GMAC. You're the man.
Happy Easter, John and other Macries.
Will do.
There you go. Okay, everybody. So I'm going to give you a bit of a rundown next week, of next week, I should say, of what the KFS content schedule is going to look like. On Monday/Tuesday. So Tuesday morning, you get a pod. It's going to be John and Benji breaking down some X's and O's and some keys to the series, like the biggest question marks going into the series. We're actually working on that rundown now. Wednesday morning, which technically Tuesday night when we're recording that, is going to be Fred Katz. He's going to jump on, and this player ranking that's gone around the Twitters lately of who ranks in the series. I think that's the episode we're going to go through with Fred and rank the players in the series. Wednesday night is live, but not on our channel. It will be a 2-on-2. John and I will be heading over to the Cavaliers official YouTube channel and doing a crossover podcast, a live stream with the Chase Down podcast. I went on there last week. That was only a week ago. Jeez. I went on there last week, and I right before the Friday night game talked about the Julius Randle injury and how much it would matter, and did a crossover with them. Then that was in place of your pregame pod. Well, John and I are going over there on Wednesday. On Thursday night, Justin from the Chase Down pod is coming over to our channel, and we'll be doing a live stream, a live mailbag, I should say, where all of you bring your super chats, bring your regular chats, bring your comments, all your questions about the Cavs. We'll sit there for about an hour and a half, an hour, hopefully, but however long it takes to answer as many questions about the series as possible with one of the more plugged in Cavs content creators, like the official podcast host of the Cleveland Cavaliers. So that'll be Thursday night at 7. I think it's 6:30 actually Eastern. And then we'll get that. That's that. Obviously, we got a casual Friday next Thursday as well. I'm jumping back on with them, and we'll do some keys to the series. Friday, John and Jeremy make our final predictions, and that'll air Saturday morning. I'll actually probably put that up Friday night during the play-in, but some of you might be watching the play-in because there's 2 play-in potentially. The games to decide the 8th seed will be Friday night. So technically Saturday morning is where you get the John and Jeremy pod that will predict the series. Any final thoughts? We'll have a Julius update by then. And yeah, we'll make our final predictions for a fun series. So guys, this has been great. Thank you so much for joining us for the entire season. I should say, not that there should be anything not expected, but we will have like post games at the end of every series, at the end of every game for this series. So game 1, I think, is going to be on Saturday. I don't think they've announced it yet. When you're listening to this, you might already know when game 1 is officially. Game 1, we'll have a post-game show. Game, however many games there are, there will be a KFS post-game live stream reacting to the NBA, the first round series between the Knicks and the Cavaliers. Stay tuned for post-games, pre-game shows. I'm working on whether I want to just keep it Knicks, like inside our little bubble, or if I want to go outside the bubble for a crossover pod with the Chase Down guys or other Cavs people throughout the series as far as pregame pods are concerned. But we will have you covered wall to wall with content online for the KFS for this series, but from KFS for the series against the Cavaliers. Okay, that'll do it for me. There is one more super chat. I see it. Josh So Focused. Following up, GMAC. He'll be our guy when he redeems his playoff performance in 2021. Can't wait for it. Hopefully. I don't judge people on 5-game sample sizes. That's me. I understand. Some don't. That's the baseball fan in me. I don't judge people on 1 at bat. I judge people on their larger sample size. I don't judge people on. I know last season was bad too, which is why that's more complicated to the Julius Randle experience. I just think he did a lot of work to be a different player this year than he was last year, at least up until the last bunch of games. And look, yeah, he needs to have a really good postseason as well. Although I wonder how the injury is going to affect our perception of he has a bad couple games in the playoffs. Regardless, I agree with you in theory. He needs to perform well in the playoffs. He's just already my guy. I want my guy to perform in the playoffs on behalf of us and for him. So that is how we'll wrap up the final post game of the regular season. Thank you to John, as always. Happy Easter to all of you celebrating. To those of you listening later, if you dig the show, please a 5-star rating and a review. If you're watching live and you haven't done yet, subscribe to the channel, like the video. We'd really appreciate it. We'll be back with some content Tuesday morning. John and Benji, the first preview of the Knicks series against the Cavaliers. But until next time, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll speak with you soon.